I disliked the business of Hollywood intensely. When I had that choice of Star Wars being a success, I said, I'm going to try to make a go for it. And so I invested in the next movie and borrowed money from a bank and everything. I had everything at stake. I did it primarily because I didn't want the studios to tell me what to do. I've kind of lost control of Star Wars, so it's going off in a different path than what I intended.
In the last 3 years, Disney has lost 41%. So if you put $1 million in, your $1 million today is what would it be? $590,000 today, 3 years later. That's minus 41. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, to put it in trend, so a 5-year investor is disappointed. A 3-year investor has an axe in the front.
Disney, once an entertainment juggernaut, is now facing turbulence that could redefine its future. The decline of its stock to a 9-year low isn't just a financial issue. It reflects waning investor confidence due to creative missteps, leadership controversies, and a fractured relationship with core fandoms. Lucasfilm under Kathleen Kennedy has been a mixed bag. While The Mandalorian brought renewed hope and success, other projects like The Rise of Skywalker and The Book of Boba Fett sparked controversy and disappointed many fans. The idea of George Lucas buying back the franchise feels almost poetic, as fans long for the visionary who originally brought the galaxy to life. But there's a question of whether Lucas, now decades removed from the filmmaking grind, would still have the creative spark needed to steer Star Wars forward. Would Lucas double down on storytelling rooted in tradition, or would he embrace new creative ideas? There's also the business side. Disney would likely set a steep price for Lucas to reclaim his creation, making it uncertain whether such a move is even financially realistic. Gina Carano's lawsuit isn't just about her departure from The Mandalorian. It taps into broader issues of corporate accountability, free speech, and Hollywood's political dynamics. Depending on how this legal battle unfolds, it could set precedents for how entertainment companies handle talent disputes and public controversies moving forward. Beyond Star Wars, Disney's struggles extend to declining theme park revenues, streaming platform woes with Disney+, and expensive underperforming projects like Strange World and Lightyear. Bob Iger's return as CEO was meant to stabilize the ship, but challenges remain formidable. Disney's attempts to appeal to younger audiences while alienating longtime fans suggest an identity crisis. The House of Mouse is resilient, but recovery requires strategic innovation, bold leadership, and perhaps a return to storytelling fundamentals that prioritize character-driven narratives over divisive political messaging. Reviving trust among fans and focusing on creative excellence will be critical.
Famous mixed martial artist, then she became an actress and became even more successful. She appeared in films like Deadpool and Fast and Furious. For a while, she was on the Disney show The Mandalorian. But then her career hit a brick wall. Why? Well, she was fired because she had heterodox opinions on face masks and the 2020 election. She wasn't particularly political, or certainly not a partisan, but they crushed her for it.
When I wouldn't hashtag trans rights and I wouldn't put my pronouns in, like, they kept on it pressuring, and finally I just said, I'm not doing this, you know, like, I'm not, like, what are the pronouns? I didn't even know what people were talking about. I was just not clued in to the pronouns thing, which apparently that's been happening for like 7-8 years now, right? It's been happening.
But no one has ever explained purpose. What I mean,
I didn't know.
You're just supposed to know.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, you're a bigot.
Yeah.
How did it come about that Elon Musk said that he would support you? I understand that he broadly has a policy of supporting anyone who's persecuted as a result of things they've said freely on X.
There was an intense amount of pressure from Lucasfilm, Disney, to pretty much just push their own ideologies onto me, you know, and represent what we represent and say what we want you to say, and then demonizing you when you didn't comply. They contacted me after he put out that tweet that he would, if you've ever gotten fired, then I kind of went viral because the people that were paying attention, they were like, Gina Carano. And I just said, I think I qualify with a smiley face emoji. I got an email from the lawyer, and he said we'd be interested in looking in your case. And still, all this time, I haven't spoken to Elon. I don't know him as a person. I just know what I see, and I appreciate what he's done for humanity at this very intense, crazy time.
In 2021, Gina Carano's rise within the Star Wars universe was undeniable. Her portrayal of Rebel shock trooper Cara Dune in The Mandalorian made her a fan favorite, and she seemed poised for even greater success, reportedly set to lead the spin-off series Rangers of the New Republic. Everything was falling into place until a single social media post altered the trajectory of her career and shook Disney's reputation. In February 2021, Carano shared a now-deleted TikTok post that compared the current political climate in the United States to Nazi Germany. Her post stated, "Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers but by their neighbors." Disney's decision to terminate Gina Carano sparked widespread debate and divided both fans and the entertainment industry. The official statement condemned her comments as abhorrent and unacceptable, confirming that Carano was no longer employed by Lucasfilm and had no future prospects with the company. CEO Bob Chapek also reinforced this stance publicly. The response was swift but polarizing. Critics argued that Carano's post trivialized the Holocaust, while her supporters saw the move as a troubling attack on free speech and an example of corporate political bias. A key point of contention was the perceived double standard. Carano's male co-stars, some of whom had shared similarly provocative opinions, faced no comparable consequences. This inconsistency became a cornerstone of Carano's lawsuit, which alleges sex discrimination and wrongful termination. Adding to the controversy, the cancellation of Rangers of the New Republic, the spin-off series Carano was slated to lead, seemed to underscore Disney's reactionary approach. Sources suggested the cancellation was motivated by spite, leaving an entire cast and crew in limbo. The optics were damaging, casting Disney in a negative light as accusations of political gatekeeping and poor management piled up. By 2023, Disney's troubles only worsened, facing criticism for failed projects and ongoing leadership challenges. Carano's legal battle and the broader conversation surrounding accountability and corporate politics continued to simmer, suggesting that this saga was far from over. The legal showdown between Gina Carano and Disney has intensified, capturing widespread attention as it unfolds. Backed by a legal team reportedly supported by Elon Musk, Carano has filed a lawsuit alleging that her termination was both unjust and discriminatory. Disney, represented by renowned attorney Daniel Petrelli, has fiercely defended the company's actions, framing the firing as a decision rooted in public relations and brand protection. Despite Disney's efforts, U.S. District Judge Cherilyn P. Garnett has consistently ruled in Carano's favor. Earlier this year, Garnett denied Disney's motion to dismiss the case, paving the way for a trial. Most recently, Disney suffered another setback when the judge rejected their request for a stay of proceedings and an interlocutory appeal. Her scathing 10-page ruling criticized Disney's arguments as lacking merit and emphasized that discovery would proceed as scheduled. Judge Garnett's remarks made it clear that she had little patience for Disney's legal maneuvers. She pointedly noted that defendants do not explain how a Ninth Circuit opinion affirming the order would alleviate the burden of responding to the discovery plaintiff has propounded to date. In other words, Garnett bluntly told Disney to stop wasting the court's time with baseless delays. With discovery moving forward, this case is shaping up to be a pivotal battle not just for Carano, but for broader issues of accountability in Hollywood. The outcome could potentially reshape how major studios navigate controversial terminations and discrimination claims.
And so somehow he didn't know what I was standing for and not forcing vaccinations on people. And he said, "Oh," I said, did you get the vaccine?" And he said, "Yeah, I got the vaccine. I got the Pfizer. I need to be ready if you ever need me to come overseas." I was like, "Anthony, I didn't get it." And he was like, "Oh." And we joked around about it a little bit. And the next day he passed away. So when people ask me if I would have done anything different, I would have screamed. I would have screamed so much louder.
Screamed what?
Everything I was saying, from lockdowns to masked vaccines, question everything. Do not allow these people to force this on you. Pay attention. I would have screamed it. So I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for what I said, for what I posted, for what I was standing for, what I was screaming for, or trying to scream for. Like, I'm not sorry. Sorry.
Now ticking toward a trial date set for September 29th, 2025, marking a significant moment in the ongoing legal battle between Gina Carano and Disney. Unless Disney secures a high-dollar settlement or achieves a last-minute legal victory, the company will face Carano head-on in court. The discovery phase, now underway, holds the potential to unearth internal communications from Disney that may reveal the motivations and decision-making process behind Carano's termination. Such revelations could prove damaging for Disney, especially if they suggest discriminatory practices or political bias. Legal experts believe that discovery could be a turning point in the case. Carano, for her part, remains resolute. In a recent social media post, she expressed gratitude for the opportunity to move forward in the court of law before the judge and my peers to clear her name. Acknowledging the challenges of the legal process, she made it clear that she is ready to fight and stand by her claims. As both sides prepare for a high-stakes trial, the case could have broader implications for Hollywood, corporate accountability, and how major entertainment companies handle controversial terminations. With Carano standing firm and discovery progressing, the stage is set for a legal showdown that could reshape Disney's public image. Gina Carano has made it clear that her fight is not just for personal justice, but for others who may face similar circumstances. Her resolve adds a compelling dimension to the case, drawing even more attention to the potential implications for Hollywood and corporate accountability. Adding intrigue, Elon Musk has emerged as a surprising ally. He reportedly reached out to Carano following her firing, offering to back her legal battle. In her latest statement, Carano expressed profound gratitude, calling Musk a man she has never met, but someone who has given her a fighting chance. She praised him for standing up for justice and thanked him for his unwavering support. Disney, however, remains firm in its defense, asserting that Carano's dismissal was a necessary response to her abhorrent comments, which they claim were inconsistent with the company's values. Yet as the legal battle continues, questions about Disney's motives and internal practices persist. The discovery phase could prove pivotal, potentially unearthing evidence that either substantiates or undermines the company's narrative. Allegations of bias or double standards loom large. With the trial date set for September 29, 2025, the stakes couldn't be higher. The outcome could reshape public perceptions of Disney and Carano alike. If evidence emerges of political discrimination or inconsistent disciplinary practices, Disney may be forced to confront uncomfortable truths about its corporate culture.
You were fired from Disney for reasons that no person should ever be fired. Elon Musk's lawyers just found you. Said, by the way, we'd like to pay for your case.
You know, I've never even met him. I've never even spoken to him. And he's doing this not only for me, he's doing this for many other people.
Looks like the lesbian space witches only had the power of one season. In a plot twist as shocking and surprising as the one that takes place in the show, Star Wars The Acolyte has not been renewed for a season 2 on Disney+. And some people, mainly leftists, are not happy about it. Hashtag The Acolyte getting canceled because incels couldn't handle a sexy black girl and a sexy Asian man serving evil villainous romance.
And of course, guys, because they put an emphasis on all of the ethnicities of their actors, canceling the show is racist. Somebody tweeted and said, they canceled Acolyte because they couldn't stand the sight of two hot people of color holding hands, but I will always remember. Bruh. Thankfully, most people in that person's comment section have common sense. One person said, I don't care about their skin color. It was bad acting and a badly written storyline. Another person said, no, it's probably due to its low ratings. Yeah, there is literally data to prove whether or not a show is successful. This is not some racially motivated attack to take down a show just because it had an Asian and a black lead and was directed by a woman.
Disney's The Acolyte was once anticipated as a fresh and intriguing entry in the Star Wars universe, marketed as the franchise's first mystery-centric series. However, the show failed to deliver on its promise and has now been officially canceled, with no plans for a second season. What initially seemed like a bold step into new storytelling territory has become a major disappointment for fans and a blow to Disney's streaming strategy. The show's failure wasn't solely due to low viewership, although that played a significant role. Critics and audiences alike pointed to significant issues with the writing and pacing, which undermined its potential. Despite being promoted as a mystery-driven show, The Acolyte ironically lacked compelling intrigue. Plot twists were either painfully predictable or unnecessarily dragged out, leaving viewers underwhelmed rather than captivated. Its cancellation is yet another setback for Disney, as the company grapples with creative misfires and struggles to maintain its dominance in the streaming landscape. The decision to pull the plug on The Acolyte also highlights broader challenges within the Star Wars franchise, which continues to search for a unifying vision capable of reigniting audience enthusiasm. Do you think Disney can bounce back by refocusing on more grounded, character-driven Star Wars stories? Or is the brand losing its magic? The Acolyte ultimately became a missed opportunity, with its narrative faltering under pacing issues and predictable plot twists that dragged on for too long, leaving viewers disengaged. Social media discussions surrounding the show were often polarized, obscuring its real shortcomings, namely, the lack of compelling storytelling and meaningful character development. Key characters like May and Osha struggled to resonate with audiences. While Amanda Stenberg, who played May, displayed flashes of range, her portrayal felt one-dimensional, failing to convey the darker, more nuanced aspects of the character. The final scenes, particularly the climactic moments, fell flat, lacking the intensity required to deliver a satisfying conclusion. This failure raises broader questions about Disney's creative direction under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership. Despite her push for innovative projects, missteps like The Acolyte suggest a disconnect between creative aspirations and execution. Adding to Disney's woes is the backlash surrounding the live-action Snow White remake. The casting and approach to diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) have sparked controversy. Rachel Zegler, cast as Snow White, faced criticism for her perceived departure from the character's traditional portrayal. Her public remarks about redefining Snow White as a modern and empowered heroine alienated fans who felt that the remake was erasing the charm of the classic story. Further fueling the controversy were Disney's decisions regarding the Seven Dwarfs, as the company sought to avoid reinforcing outdated stereotypes. However, this move drew criticism from both traditionalists and advocates for authentic representation. With these ongoing creative and cultural challenges, Disney faces a critical crossroads. Can the company find a balance between innovation and honoring the legacy of its beloved stories, or will it continue to face backlash from disillusioned fans? Disney's decision to replace the Seven Dwarfs with a diverse group of magical creatures in the live-action Snow White remake drew criticism from both disability advocates and fans. Many felt this change stripped away a significant part of the original film's identity. While intended to avoid perpetuating stereotypes, the move instead sparked debate about authentic representation and whether Disney had undermined a cherished element of the classic story. No discussion of Disney's recent controversies would be complete without addressing the firing of Gina Carano. Her departure from The Mandalorian not only cost the franchise a beloved character, but also highlighted deeper issues within Disney's leadership. Carano's termination over a controversial social media post ignited outrage among fans, many of whom saw it as an attack on free speech. Carano's firing wasn't an isolated incident. It became emblematic of Disney's broader struggles with fan relations. The company's swift condemnation of Carano, while failing to address similarly controversial statements made by some of her male co-stars, raised accusations of a double standard. This inconsistency lies at the heart of Carano's ongoing lawsuit against Disney, which alleges sex discrimination and wrongful termination. The fallout from Carano's departure extended beyond legal battles. Rangers of the New Republic, a spin-off series reportedly meant to center on Cara Dune, was quietly canceled. The decision left fans questioning Disney's ability to manage its intellectual properties and foster goodwill with its audience. As Disney faces mounting controversies, from creative missteps to leadership challenges, it finds itself at a pivotal moment. Can the entertainment giant regain the trust of its audience? Or will these missteps continue to erode its standing in popular culture? The controversies surrounding The Acolyte, Snow White, and Gina Carano extend far beyond public relations. They carry significant financial implications for Disney. With Disney Plus facing declining subscriber numbers and underperforming original content, these missteps only deepen the company's challenges. High-profile lawsuits like Carano's further strain the company's finances, posing risks of hefty settlements and reputational damage. Under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership, Disney has faced repeated criticism for its storytelling choices and handling of fan backlash. While Kennedy has championed diversity and innovation, her tenure has often been marked by divisive decisions that alienate core audiences. From the narrative missteps in The Acolyte to the casting and creative controversies surrounding Snow White and the ongoing fallout from Carano's firing, Disney's current trajectory raises serious concerns. These controversies highlight a growing disconnect between Disney's creative aspirations and audience expectations. What was once a brand synonymous with magic and widespread appeal now finds itself battling to maintain cultural relevance and financial stability. The question remains, can Disney course correct and realign itself with its fanbase, or will this pattern of missteps continue to define this era of its history?
So
all those Star Wars films.
All the Star Wars films.
They were your kids.
Yeah, well, they are. I loved them. I created them. I'm very intimately involved in them, and obviously to
And
sell
you
them
sold
off,
them.
I sold them to the white slavers that take these things and
Okay, but I mean, it must hurt you.
well,
No,
no,
it's your family. It's
but
the last story. It's
but-
your
but-
story.
But in
It's
the end,
you.
But I knew there's 3 more stories, and I knew that was going to probably take, to do it right would take about 10 years. And I said, I'm 70. I don't know whether I'll be here when I'm 80. Every 10 years the odds get less. And so I said, and I'm not ready to do that because I want to do these other things.
Well, no, at Disney Animation, has the loss of John Lasseter years ago, for example, been a blow that you haven't been able to recover from?
Well, first of all, the studio and its movie assets are #1 at the global box office this year so far. That said, we're extremely realistic, and I'm very objective about that business, and there have been some disappointments. We would have liked some of our more recent releases to have performed better. It's reflective, not as a problem from a personnel perspective, but I think in our zeal to basically grow our content significantly to serve our mostly our streaming offerings, we ended up taxing our people way beyond, in terms of their time and their focus, way beyond where they had been. Marvel's a great example of that. They had not been in the TV business at any significant level. Not only did they increase their movie output, but they ended up making a number of television series, and frankly, it diluted focus and attention. And I think you're seeing that is, I think, more the cause than anything else. And then I think there was some, I think you'd have to agree that there were some creative misses as well.
Amid mounting failures, rumors swirl that George Lucas may be poised to buy back Star Wars. Given Disney's ongoing struggles and apparent lack of creative vision, the prospect seems more plausible than ever. Lucas, who transformed Star Wars into a global cultural phenomenon, could potentially reclaim the franchise and restore its legacy. If this scenario comes to pass, Disney may come to regret letting go of the galaxy far, far away. Lucas was the creative mind who truly understood the essence of Star Wars, a timeless and powerful story that resonated with audiences of all ages. His return could be exactly what the franchise needs to regain its footing. But is Lucas willing to re-enter the fray, and would Disney even entertain the idea of parting with one of its most iconic properties? These questions remain unanswered, but the ongoing dissatisfaction among fans fuels speculation. Many have grown increasingly frustrated with Disney's approach, which they perceive as prioritizing corporate agendas over quality storytelling. As Disney navigates this turbulent period, it faces a pivotal decision. Will it continue down its current path, alienating the very audience that built its empire, or find a way forward that honors the legacy of the stories that made it a household name? Only time will tell, but the future of Star Wars hangs in the balance. Approach to public relations and fan engagement. Independent influencers like Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic have become prominent voices for frustrated fans, offering sharp critiques not only of Disney's creative missteps, but also its tone-deaf responses to legitimate criticism. Their growing influence underscores a widening gap between Disney and its audience. The backlash to projects like The Acolyte and Snow White, coupled with the mishandling of Gina Carano's firing, highlights the pervasive issue: Disney's failure to address constructive feedback. Poor pacing, predictable plots, and lackluster characters are genuine concerns voiced by passionate fans. Yet Disney often dismisses these critiques as mere hate or toxicity rather than engaging in meaningful dialogue with its audience. This dismissive attitude has alienated longtime fans, who increasingly feel that the studio prioritizes virtue signaling over storytelling excellence. By focusing on corporate agendas rather than preserving the legacy of its beloved franchises, Disney risks further eroding its once strong relationship with its core audience. As independent critics continue to gain traction, Disney faces a critical choice. Will it continue to ignore fan sentiment, or will it embrace valuable feedback and realign itself with the creative storytelling that once defined its success? Failure to do so may cement this era as a time of decline rather than renewal for the entertainment giant. Disconnect is the fundamental issue of respect. Fans want to be heard, valued, and engaged meaningfully about the franchises they hold dear. Yet Disney's approach often comes across as dismissive, doubling down on controversial creative choices and framing critics as part of a toxic fandom rather than acknowledging valid concerns. This dynamic has only widened the rift between the company and its audience. Projects like Snow White and The Acolyte faced backlash that was met not with constructive engagement, but with a defensive corporate stance. Influencers like Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic have emerged as key voices amplifying fan frustrations, pointing out Disney's unwillingness to learn from its missteps. These creators underscore the stark contrast between fan-driven platforms and Disney's messaging, where fans see mishandled opportunities and disrespect, while Disney touts bold risks and progress. The rise of independent critics speaks to a broader cultural shift. Fans are no longer content with being passive consumers. They expect transparency, accountability, and respect from the studios behind their favorite stories. These voices have become necessary in holding Disney accountable, filling a gap often left by mainstream media. If Disney hopes to regain the trust of its audience, it must bridge this gap. This means listening to fans, acknowledging mistakes, and prioritizing creative excellence over rigid corporate narratives. The path to redemption is still open, but it requires a genuine commitment to rebuilding relationships with the very audience that made Disney a global entertainment powerhouse. Without this shift, the pattern of failures may continue, further eroding the goodwill that once defined the company's legacy. The ongoing saga of Gina Carano's lawsuit against Disney has evolved beyond a personal legal battle. It has become a symbol of accountability. The case challenges Disney's practices, alleging discrimination and hypocrisy, and if Carano emerges victorious, it could serve as a wake-up call for the entire entertainment industry. It would prove that even entertainment giants like Disney are not above the law or public scrutiny. This pivotal moment presents an opportunity for Disney to reassess its direction. With mounting dissatisfaction among fans and financial instability stemming from missteps like failed projects and alienating decisions, the potential for a turnaround is real. Imagine a Disney that listens to its audience, values creativity over corporate agendas, and delivers content that inspires and captivates. It's not an impossible dream. Disney has reinvented itself before. But this time, fans are demanding transparency, respect, and authenticity. The decision now lies with Disney. Continue down a path of dismissive storytelling and questionable leadership, or rise to the occasion and embrace meaningful change. The stakes are high, and the voices calling for transformation are growing louder. Adding to the intrigue is the rumor that George Lucas might buy back Star Wars. With Disney's ongoing struggles and its failure to connect with the core fan base, the idea of Lucas reclaiming the franchise becomes more plausible. Lucas's deep understanding of Star Wars could reignite the magic and restore the storytelling excellence that once made the franchise legendary. Disney is at a critical crossroads. Gina Carano's lawsuit might deliver the knockout punch that forces the company to confront its shortcomings. But this moment is bigger than Disney alone. It signals a broader shift in the entertainment landscape. Studios must decide whether to respect their audiences or risk becoming relics of the past. This is just the beginning of a new chapter in the battle for fan-favorite franchises, from Star Wars to Snow White and beyond.